to Idiosyncratic Idiots Music Meltdown Live Thursday night. I'm Timothy Lee, your host, with our musical mascot Boots, always here to give us moral support, and the chief boss, CEO, and head check writer of JJP Productions, the beautiful Jessie Jones, is here with us. I'm glad you could join us tonight. Tonight, we want to talk about women singer songwriters from the 2000s, as well as all as well as how important Lilith Fair was in propelling that movement into the 2000s. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, I really want to say thank you, a sincere thank you so much to all the subscribers and the viewers who watched our hotel desk clerk story on the Grateful Dead. We got wonderful response and comments, and I'd like to go through a couple of the comments that I thought were really, really cool, and that's what we're here to do, is to provide this forum and this family, if you want to call it. And so I'll read a couple of the comments for you. The first one I want to give a big thank you to is Anthony. Seven Tojo is his name on YouTube. Because of my advanced age and my memory isn't all the greatest, and I learned one thing, and I already knew it, but I didn't take into effect that I should have fact-checked everything, is I said in the video that the show was in 84, but Anthony said, great story, brings back some fine memories. However, the two shows at Poplar Creek took place in 1983. Summer of 84, they played Alpine Valley, which is in Wisconsin. Far and away my favorite venue during the 80s. So thank you, Anthony, for correcting me and my bad memory and the fact that you need to fact check everything, because that's the power of the family of the Grateful Dead and their faithful followers. They're on top of everything. And I want to thank Anthony for doing that for me. Another comment that I really enjoyed was from Mark Polinsky 5560, who wrote, thanks for sharing. Here's my story. St. Louis, Missouri, 1971. A buddy's Uncle Clarence was working security at the Fox Theater, which, by the way, is the home of Chuck Berry's Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll. He just happens to be working the stairs leading up to the stage. He lets us on stage in between songs, and we make our way to the back of the stage, sit down on some amplifier cases. When I feel it's appropriate, I lit up so my claim to fame is I smoked on stage at a Dead show. Laugh out loud. Great story, Mark. Thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate it. That's what I love about music and the power of music and the memories that it provides all of us. One more that I really want to shout out to is The Lost Sailor. I talk about in that video tape trading and how important that was during the now 60 years of the Grateful Dead. And The Lost Sailor wrote, nice story. Thanks for sharing the memory with us. I was a taper from 76 till the end and beyond. I probably recorded the show you saw. So if you get back to me with the exact date and what medium you can listen on, it would be a pleasure to make a copy for you. And see, that, my friends, is what music is all about. It's a great thing. So I really, really appreciate everybody and all the great response from that video. It really warmed my heart, and it is an amazing thing. Hey, Seth, thanks for listening. Bro, listen to Tool Off Acid. It will change your life. All right. I will check it out. I will definitely check it out. Maynard Keenan, or Maynard J. Keenan, I think is the lead singer for Tool. I'm assuming that's by the band Tool. I guess that's who you're talking about. And hi to Kauai and hi Foyton. Thank you for joining us. Excuse me. So beautiful weather. It's a beautiful day here in Northwest Pennsylvania. Excuse me. It's a, it's right there. So again, we want to thank everybody who's given us all the positive feedback on all the videos. We've really had a lot of fun doing this, and we thank you for joining us all tonight. So again, one of the things that I really wanted to talk about tonight was women singer songwriters. And I think obviously at first we got to go back and give some shout outs to some of the ones that really propelled it. Obviously, we know that music has always been pretty much a male dominated industry. So, as women began to take a more prominent role in the business, there was definitely some founding women that really were big in playing an important role in the business. And I'm sure you've heard some of these names. Maybe some of the younger folks haven't heard these names, but Joan Baez is one, which she was a amazing songwriter, singer, guitar player, and so that's one to definitely look at. Carole King is another one, amazing. If you haven't heard the record Tapestries, I highly suggest you go out to your, on your local streaming service, or if you're still buying records, find the Tapestry record by Carole King. It's priceless music and will live on forever. And thank you, Carole, for putting in everything you have done and still are doing for music. She also was an amazing songwriter who wrote so many great songs. And so thanks, Carole. Joni Mitchell is another one, the Canadian Joni Mitchell, one of the queens of the Hollywood Hills back in the 60s and 70s, and that whole genre, a major player in the business and really important in the women and bringing women into, I don't want to say rock and roll, but, into the American music and their prominence in the business. Linda Ronstadt is another one from the 70s, another great songwriter, singer. Carly Simon and Janice Ian. I mean, those were some of the founding women that, from the 60s and the 70s that really started to propel women in the music industry. But really what we want to talk about is the 2000s and the late 1990s. Specifically, I want to go back to July 5th, 1997 at the Gorge, which, by the way, is a beautiful music venue in Washington State. Some may have heard of it, some may not. If not, check it out. Google search it, the Gorge, Gorge in Washington State. On July 5th in 1997, Sarah McLachlan had put together a thing, kind of a music festival solely for women called Lilith Fair. And that single-handedly jump-started a lot of careers and really pushed women into the music industry and brought a lot of exposure to so many different artists. One of the things that I found really fascinating about that was they raised, I believe, almost $10 million in the 2 years that they did that Lilith Fair from 97 to 99. And they donated quite a bit of money to local women's homeless shelters at the areas in which they played on that tour. Some of the artists that were involved, at least at the beginning of Lilith Fair, especially the first incarnation in 97, again, Sarah McLachlan, who obviously was the one that founded it, and really brought this to forefront. Suzanne Vega, Sheryl Crow, Tracy Chapman, Jewel, Paula Cole, Fiona Apple, Lisa Loeb, the Indigo Girls, Sean Colvin, Natalie Merchant, who, by the way, a big shout out to Natalie Merchant, we're here at the Music Nerd headquarters in Northwest Pennsylvania, but Natalie Merchant is from just up the road in Jamestown, New York, in the Southern Tier, and so we want to give a big shout out to Natalie Merchant. She had so much to do with the local music scene, 20 miles up the road, and still to this day is involved in, getting kids involved in music. So a big shout out to Natalie Merchant for all she's done, especially in this local area, the Northwest Pennsylvania and Southern Tier of New York. Interestingly enough, the way you may ask, how did we come up with this format for tonight's live? Well, interestingly enough, on Sunday night, me and the boss, the beautiful Jessie Jones, we were having a dinner, doing some pre-production work and talking about what we wanted to do for this week. And we had YouTube up, and in the playlist that came up on YouTube came up a song called Love Song by Sarah Bareilles. And that kind of kick-started what we were thinking about talking about this week. And I want to share a great story. And this is what makes music so great. This is the epitome of a story of how special music can be. You listen to that song, I'm sure some of you may be familiar with that song. I hope you're familiar with that song. But if you listen to that song, when I listened to it, I always thought that she was talking about a guy. She didn't want to write a love song for a guy, not because you want one or you need one. That's the hook in the song, and that's what you'd think that she's writing about. But as I did some research into that song, she had, in the studio recording her first record, the producer said, "Sarah, you need a love song." And she said, "I'm not going to write a love song." And so she wrote that song, became a hit. The rest is history. And she's gone on to great things. She's a Tony Award winner on Broadway. I believe the play was called Waitress, and done some really good things. So that's, what I'm talking about. That's kind of how this all started, and how women have a voice, and, in a pretty much male-dominated industry. And it's incredible what a lot of these women bring to the table, especially those ones that, sit in front of a piano and it's just them, a grand piano, and them singing. That takes an incredible amount of guts to do that, because it's all out there. There's no room to hide. I mean, we talk about Led Zeppelin, we talk about these bands that we loved, AC/DC, The Who, the Rolling Stones. It doesn't matter what the band is, but in a setting with 4 or 5 guys, you can have an off night and get away with it. And, it's not going to be quite as out there. But when you're sitting in front of a piano by yourself with a microphone, there is nowhere to hide. And that's one of the things I do love. And I mean, there are some male, guys that do the same kind of music, that kind of thing. But there's so many women that are there lots of famous women singer-songwriters? Yeah, there's quite a few of them. Let's go through a list of, I've already mentioned several of them, but Norah Jones, Fiona Apple, again, Sarah Bareilles, Natasha Bedingfield, Colby Calais, and, we all know the Sheryl Crows, the Natalie Merchants, Tori Amos, Erykah Badu, Alicia Keys, Meredith Brooks, Mary Chapin Carpenter, um, and the Joan Osborne, Dido, uh, Jill Solvay, Jewel, and it shows you the power of the music that they've written when you look on the charts today. And there's a country singer named Luke Combs who did a cover of Tracy Chapman's "Fast Car." It was a big hit, and that was a African American female that did that song, and really had tremendous success with that, and it was an amazing thing. So, you know, there are quite a few women, and there's also been quite a few women in the background that are just straight songwriters that maybe aren't up front or on stage, but have written songs that other people have carried to the stage or carried to records and made famous. So it's some of the songs that I started as I started to kind of look into this genre, or I don't want to call it a genre, but a woman singer songwriter. Um, Suzanne Vega had a hit with a song called Luca, which you may remember. Sarah McLachlan, Building a Mystery, Adia. Sheryl Crow was Soak Up the Sun. Obviously, like I just mentioned, Tracy Chapman, Fast Car. Jewel, Standing Still. Paula Cole, I Don't Want to Wait. Lisa Loeb, Stay, I Miss You. Sean Colvin, Sonny Came Home. Natalie Merchant, Carnival, or Jealousy. Joan Osborne, One of Us, was a big song. I definitely remember hearing that quite a bit on the radio. Dido, Thank You. As well as, I'm sure you're all familiar with what she did with Eminem when she did that with Stan with Eminem, which was obviously later in the 2000s. Some of the careers that were launched out of the Lilith Fair into this movement as women started to come to the forefront. Missy Elliott, the rapper Missy Elliott, Nelly Furtado, I'm Like a Bird, which is one of the boss's favorite songs. Mm-mm. I thought you liked that. Mm-mm. I checked that.
Not mine.
Wrong again.
I like Nelly Furtado.
Christina Aguilera, another band that surprisingly I didn't realize, but were instrumental in the Lilith Fair and then catapulting their career, were at the time called the Dixie Chicks, but now are called the Chicks. That was another band that was spawned out of that couple of years where I know they brought it back. They brought Lilith Fair back in 2010, but I don't think it did quite as well at the box office. So I don't think it lasted that long. But 95 through 90, or 97 through 99 was just monstrous. Lilith Fair was a women-only music festival that traveled throughout North America and Canada. I don't think they took that overseas to Europe. Don't quote me on that one. I didn't fact check that, but it went from 97 to 99. And again, the first one was on July 5th, 1997 at the Gorge in Washington, USA. So many great, I think back to songs like Vanessa Carlton, 1,000 Miles was one that I always loved. And again, it's just her with piano. Fiona Apple, Criminal. I love that song. I don't know I'm sure there's some out there watching that are familiar with that song. If not, that's one that I would suggest you look up. Obviously, Alicia Keys. We watched a video last night where she was singing just her and piano, and amazing voice. Nora Jones is another really, really good one who has, kind of crossed over into different. It was a very big event.
How big?
I don't I can't say I know any of the attendance figures for the Lilith Fair, but I did know that it had overwhelming response. And again, that was one of the first times where it was a women dominated thing. And, traditionally, obviously, you think of rock bands or, you know, it's mostly men and it's mostly always been men. So, the women have had to fight harder to get their name out there and then also be part of the mainstream. Um, you know, for those of you who are younger or may not remember terrestrial radio or radio as we used to know it, there was a lot of payola, and if you weren't paying to get your music on there, they wouldn't play it. And I mean, even the DJs back then, that when they had live, which I don't think there's that many radio stations left in America where they have live DJs, but even there were mostly male dominated. So playing women's music, was not that big a thing. So they fought their way in, and I believe, and in my humble opinion, which you know, I'm not educated I don't have some college degree in music history or anything like that, but uh, they definitely had to fight their way, and I really believe Lilith Fair is what catapulted this generation of young women, and now some of them that are still out there doing it, and still in their 60s now, and they're still out there writing great music and going out on the road and performing. It definitely helped.
Read the comment.
Did it help make women singers more well known? Undoubtedly, there is no doubt that it helped them and bring them not only in the radio sense, excuse me, and bringing it to the general public, but also to get their views on whether it be political or whatever it is that they were trying to express. I mean, I know some of the women, like the one I kind of always come to mind is Fiona Apple. She was kind of had that angst ridden thing, kind of like the grunge movement, uh, where they had that angst in it. But whatever it was that they were trying to, some of them did uh, push more political views. The one thing I found interesting as I was researching this a little bit more is that Sarah McLachlan, Lisa Loeb, and another one that I wanted to say is even though she wasn't born and raised in Chicago, she is a Chicago girl, is Liz Phair. And Sarah McLachlan, Lisa Loeb, and Liz Phair are very philanthropic. They obviously, I'm sure you've seen Sarah McLachlan's commercial with the ASPCA, is that what it's called? She's done a lot of those commercials about helping animals. But I know
Humane Society. I don't know.
Lisa Loeb is very philanthropic,
Humane
as
Society.
well as Liz Phair. So they piggyback their success into doing things to help others, and so that's an amazing thing. It's not always just about getting rich, money wise. But be able to help others along the way. Was Janis Joplin a singer songwriter? Yeah, I would say she was a singer songwriter. Definitely, she was. She covered a lot of blues songs, but she also wrote a lot of music. But again, she was integrated with her band. Oh, it's escaping me right now. The band that she played with. Oh, Big Brother and the Holding Company. It was mostly males that she played with, and she obviously fronted it. That was one of the cool things I loved. I just watched a video this afternoon on YouTube about Natalie Merchant doing Jealousy with a bunch of young girls, and that she was, helping a community uh, to expose kids to music, and it was a bunch of young, probably like teenage girls, maybe a little bit younger, playing the instruments as she sang, and that was really really cool. And that's another big thing. Um, on that same topic, like I was saying about this propelling women into the forefront and making music more accessible, not only to women that were listening, but also to encouraging younger artists to, persevere. I mean, I guess one of the people that I always thought about for the struggles of this was Pat Benatar. Um, she was this rock and roll singer in a time kind of like the Wilson sisters, Ann and Nancy Wilson and Hart. They came up at a time when it was strictly males in rock and roll. And here were these women that had a voice, had something to say, but had to fight and claw for everything. And I believe Pat Benatar has a book out where she talks about. You want to look that up and see what the name of Pat Benatar's book is, please? She talks about how, she had to fight and claw to get her music on the radio, but at the same time not be treated as a. I think one of the stories goes that she went to a radio station that they were trying to promote her record, and the radio station general manager, was expecting favors, if you know what I mean, from her. And she said, "I'm not going to do that just to get my record played on your radio station." And she had to fight and claw, and had a very successful career, and is still doing it with her great husband Neil Giraldo.
Oh, what?
Pat Benatar. Does she have a book? Did she write an autobiography or a book? I'm pretty sure she did, because I thought I've heard interviews with her. But she talked
Between a Heart and a Rock Place.
by Pat Benatar. It's called Between a Heart and a Rock Place. And, you know, she really struggled and fought and persevered. And,
A memoir.
yeah, it's a memoir about her life and her life in the rock and roll business. And it's a fascinating story. And by the way, her and Neil Giraldo, her husband, who played guitar with the great Rick Derringer when he was a lot younger, before they met and got married, uh, they're still out there doing it. So good on her. Good on you, Pat, for sticking with it, sticking to your guns, sticking to your morals, and, allowing your voice to be heard for what it was. It doesn't, you know, as me and Jesse were watching some videos, uh, what was it, last night and then earlier, I think, in the week, you know, even back in the MTV days, I know you're gonna laugh because MTV is kind of a dead thing. I don't know, it might still be around. I don't watch it. I don't have that kind of television, but back in the day, a lot of these women, they weren't using their sexuality to try to push their music. Some of it was, but some of them didn't have to be because they're so talented and they had something to say, and they used their words and their gift that they were given by God to be, a songwriter and have something to say to propel them and not use their physical gifts. So they use their mind. And that's a really cool thing if you think about it. It doesn't always have to be physical that sells. Look at a guy like Jelly Roll right now. I mean, not the greatest looking guy in the world. He'll be the first to tell you that, but yet he's using his gift for a positive uh, force in today's society. So, that's really what my point of tonight was. Um, I'm in no way means by no means an expert in the women singer songwriter genre of music, but I do enjoy a lot of them, and I think they do have something powerful to say. But I do love.
Yep, it was ASPCA.
What's that?
Sarah McLaughlin, it was ASPCA.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. But I really do love the fact that they've done that and they stuck to their guns. And you know, some of them didn't have super long careers. Some of them decided to start a family, or they just moved on to different things that they wanted to pursue. Um, Records that I definitely highly recommend that if you've never heard them, one of them certainly has to be Liz Phair's "Exile in Guyville." That is a classic record. I think that was a little earlier than the 2000s. I think that was like 1993 or something like that. But that's definitely one that you want to check out. Um, Obviously, you know, some of the Joan Osborne stuff is really good, and she's gone on to do a lot of stuff with the jam bands. I think she did some stuff with Bob Dylan, I believe. um, but there's so many out there, and there's so many, and that's part of the thing about the internet. I haven't always been a great fan of the internet and what that did. Who is Joan Osborne? Joan Osborne is a singer, female singer. She had a very famous hit called "One of Us." Look her Wikipedia and say, tell me. She didn't have a. I don't think she had a super long career, but I know that she did a lot of the jam band stuff, and um, I believe if I'm not mistaken, she. I don't know if it was with. I think it was with Bob.
Osborne.
Well,
Joan Osborne.
that's why I said it like that. Um, but so many cool. You know, and another one, another great. I know Nancy
One of
Wilson.
Us.
Yeah, Nancy Wilson has also, I believe, written a book and an amazing. She's done some side projects. The Wilson sisters, Ann and Nancy Wilson, uh, amazing, amazing story. The band Heart. They went through a lot of hard times. They've gone, you know, been up and down and back and forth. And, you know, it's kind of funny. It's an example about this business and how crazy it is that some of the songs that you may like by them are some of the songs they don't like the most because they felt like at a time, and I'm thinking back to the, like the 82 to 87 or 88 period where they got really, really super popular. They didn't like a lot of that music because number one, they had other people writing it, but a lot of it was the record company was pushing them to put, you know, churn this music out. It was album tour, album tour, album tour, and not really having a lot of time to put what they wanted to express. And it's funny now that, you know, there's songs out there that I thought, yeah, I really like that, and I remember listening to it on the radio all the time. And yet, when you hear Nancy Wilson or Ann Wilson talk about it, they're like, man, I did not. The one song that I'll always remember is, I think the song is called "I Only Want to Make." Uh, Pull Apart. And it was a very popular song for them. I only want to make love to you. I think it was the name of the song.
Song.
Yeah, well, just pull up their, like, look for an album from like 84 or 85. I only want to make love to you, I think was the name of it. Jesse's checking for me here. And it was a big hit. I remember them playing that all over the radio. I was in Las Vegas at that time working in the hotel.
Rainbow Annie magazine, Little Queen, Dog and Butterfly. That was a
No,
good one.
yeah, that's old. That's 70s. Go into the 80s.
Private Audition, Passion Works, Bebe Lestrange.
Yeah, Baby Lestrange.
Heart, Bad Animals.
Bad
Reggae.
Animals. What? Click on that and see what the name of the records are. The name of the songs are.
Bad Animals. Songs.
But I mean, it was all over the radio. And a shout out to the great KOMP 92.3 on your dial in Las Vegas. One of the great rock classic rock stations in Las Vegas at the time.
Who will you run to?
Who Will You Run To is a good one.
Alone.
Alone's a huge one that Nancy Wilson sang.
There's the girl. I want you so bad. Wait for an answer. Bad Animals. You ain't so tough. Strangers of the Heart. Easy Target. RSVP.
No, what's the album? The next album after that, then? Sorry, Jess. But I mean, it's just that kind of story, where there's so many of these girls that didn't have to go down that road, and some of them laid the foundation so that
they were formed in Seattle, Washington.
Yes,
they're from 1973.
Yeah, they're from Seattle.
They did have some good songs.
Nancy Wilson, the guitar player, by the way, was married to the great Cameron Crowe, who, if you don't know who Cameron Crowe is, the movie Almost Famous, that's a story about his life. William, the young guy that goes on the road with a band that was actually the Allman Brothers. He wrote a song. He wrote an article for Rolling Stone magazine when he was 15. What's that?
Brigade.
Yeah, do the songs on that one. Something like I only want to make. Yeah, I think it is.
All I want to do is make love to you.
Yeah. All I want to do is make love to you. That was the name of the song. And Ann Wilson says she cannot stand that song. She didn't like it from the get-go, but the record company saw a hit, which it was, and I don't even think they play it now, even when they're out. I know she had some surgeries. They had to cancel this year's tour, but I think they're going back out on the road next year. And I don't even think they play it anymore because there's several songs. She mentioned 3 or 4 songs that she just refuses to do because, they were unfortunately victims of the machine, and it was a machine back then. And that's what the internet has done for music that has made it so much better, is that there's not nearly that kind of thing, because unfortunately, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but records are not really a thing anymore because they don't. I just saw something. Oh, you just got her name right instead of Osborne. But so that's the cool thing, and there's so many great stories, and I highly recommend you go out and see Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. They're going out and they're still doing it. She is definitely a survivor and a rough. We're talking more of the rock side, but the thing about those women that I mentioned today are, a lot of them did not have big bands with them. It was all pared down, and it mostly focused on them having the guts to lay themselves out there and put themselves out there. And it's a difficult thing, and they should be proud of themselves for doing that, because you put yourself out there to get roasted. It's not just a newspaper article the next morning after a show in Portland, Oregon. Now it's the internet 2 seconds after the gig, and they're putting stuff on Facebook and stuff. So I remember that I don't ever remember at concerts, we used to sneak in those little disposable cameras that you could take the little film thing down to go get them developed. That was our cell phone at a concert in the 70s and 80s. So it's a lot different now, but that's a big thing, and I give them a lot of credit, and there's a lot of great music. So let's go through this list one more time. Again, I'm Timothy Lee. You're watching Idiosyncratic Idiots Music Meltdown, our Thursday night show. We're going to try to make this maybe a permanent thing. We'll have to see how our schedules work. We still have lives. And, the head check writer, she's got us working day and night. We got the whole crew is working like mad men. Cracking the whip for the big checks. She's got to sign all those big checks. Unfortunately, mine somehow never seemed to get cash because who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But
Neither do mine.
but the best way I found to repay her is you just offer food and you're good to go.
Yeah.
As long as there's
Yep.
food available here at the music nerd headquarters, we're good. You should see the backstage flatter. Her rider, for all of you out there who don't know what a rider is, when a band comes into a town to a venue, they all sign a rider, and that's what they require the venue to provide them in their dressing room. You don't want to ask what a rider includes. It will bankrupt you.
Rider?
A rider.
What's that?
That is what the band requires the venue to provide in their dressing rooms, like certain kinds of. I mean, come on now. Anybody out there who's into music knows the story about Van Halen. Van Halen probably has the greatest rider story of ever, where they used to go to places and they said they wanted bowls of M&M, but they didn't want any brown M&M. So somebody literally would have to pick out all the brown M&Ms and leave the bowl of M&Ms there. And they did that for every show. That's a notoriously great story of the Van Halen brothers and David Lee Roth.
Wasn't there 2 shades of brown? Wasn't there light brown and dark brown? Remember? There was light brown and dark brown.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
And then other colors.
Okay, well, they wanted the brown ones. That was the big story. What?
Are they still colored?
I don't know. I don't buy M&Ms. I'm not allowed. Let's get something straight. I tried to buy a piece of discounted cake at the local Walmart today, and I wasn't allowed to by the boss. She said she needs her star available at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
oh yeah, remember? It looks like they don't have the light brown ones anymore.
Yeah,
just dark brown. Just,
see?
They don't have the tan ones.
Okay, well maybe
remember there was tan and dark brown.
Okay, well,
and then all those other.
Oh, okay, well all I know is the story.
I was always like, well, why do they have 2 colors of brown and only one of each of the other colors? Like they didn't have light green and dark green, and I just always thought it was weird. But it looks like they don't have them anymore. But
that's what a rider is, Jesse. So getting back to the original topic, a rider is what the band requires. Sometimes it could be a certain kind of soda, it could be a certain kind of beer, a certain kind of liquor, a certain kind of wines, only certain kinds of foods. And I was fortunate enough to work at Robson House Catering in Reno, Nevada, that did the concerts at Centennial Coliseum in Reno, Nevada in the late 70s to early 80s, 79 through 82 or something like that. And what?
M&M discontinued the tan-colored M&M in 1995 and replaced it with blue. Don't you remember?
No, that wasn't a...
So now there's blue and no tan since 1995. Wow, that tells you how old we are. Well, me.
Speak
I
for
remember.
Yourself.
Don't you remember?
Why would I remember when they took a cerkin color of M&Ms?
No, but don't you remember the dark brown and the tan?
Okay,
don't you remember having 2 brown ones?
I guess. No.
No?
No, because when I ate candy, being who I am, that I am, I would just stuff them all in my mouth. What did I care what color they were? It was sugar.
That's right. I don't remember. I don't remember there being blue ones back then. Now that makes sense.
So I will say this for you younger folk out there: if you want to have some fun, I've never looked it up myself, but I'm sure
there was orange, tan, dark brown, red, and green. No, don't put it on me. I'm not set up.
There you go.
The lighting's not set up for me over here.
Get your fro in the picture. Go ahead, come on. The fans want to see you.
It's not my fault.
The fans want to see you.
It's very humid today.
Get your
It's very
Yeah, we
humid
had our
today.
first sprinklings of the all famous white stuff here in western Pennsylvania, northwest Pennsylvania today. So her hair, she's got a nice fro. Come on, get in there. Get in there.
Oh,
Get in there, girl.
yeah.
Boom, look at that. There she is, the head check writer, the boss, the gap.
When
the
it
setup.
gets humid, my hair it just grows throughout the day. It grows. I can have it nice and slicked down, and then throughout the day it just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah. So
if it's humid or rainy, it just
so now everybody out there in the chat, now when you hear the voice, now you can put a face to the voice, because not only does she write the checks, she sets up the whole
okay,
music.
Who in the chat is old enough to remember when M&Ms were not the color they are today? Who remembers when they were red, brown, tan, orange, and green, and no blue? It makes a big difference. The blue really brightened it up. I wonder why they. Let's find out why they
Maybe
changed
it was the Van Halen brothers. Maybe it was food coloring, because they don't allow that food coloring anymore.
Oh man!
What?
So they discontinued the tan color M&Ms in 1995 and replaced it with blue. Why did they do that? Because the company held an open vote for consumers.
Boom.
To choose a new color. The decision was made because the company felt
they didn't need different shades of brown in their mix.
That's what I was.
Okay, there you go.
All that time I was wondering, why did they have two, but not two of the other colors? Now we know. They decided that they didn't.
Man, I feel better. Don't you all feel better now that we know the perplexing question on the different colors of M&Ms?
If there's anybody out there in the chat, was there anybody else wondering back then why there were tan and brown at the same time? Not that it was a bad thing. I didn't think it was a bad thing. I just wondered why. It was just like, why this and not the other? It was just confusing. And he doesn't even remember.
So I know I know we have some people in the chat.
Because I like the tan ones. I used to sort them out. Did anybody used to sort the colors out and then made little piles? Like tan ones. A little bit so you can get your face. Did anybody sort the colors out and put little piles of each?
I did do that. I've done that.
There you go.
Yes, I did that. Yeah. Okay. I got it. Of course, I'm so old. I remember when we go trick or treating and you get like homemade chocolate chip cookies and Rice Krispie treats and popcorn balls, and I don't think you can do that today anymore. That would be a no. At least here in the major metropolitan Northwest Pennsylvania woods. I don't know about your city, but
another interesting fact: who remembers Cadbury eggs? Now, I think they got smaller than they were when I was younger. I'm 46.
Whoa.
And you know what? It's as of at least 2013, the size of the peanut butter M&Ms. Remember those?
Yes.
Has become slightly smaller. See what they're doing? I swear they did it with Cadbury eggs too.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to. So I'd love to hear. Let me hear a woman that you liked from this movement, that or somebody you listen to on the radio. Maybe you don't even know their. Maybe it's just the name of a song or something. That is there anybody out there? I know we got some people watching, so go ahead, let it out.
No, go ahead. I have to read a little bit.
So I can see she's on the Cadbury eggs now, folks. So get ready, it's coming. She's going to start a writing here any second. Now you understand why I look like I look like. I did it for her for 16 years. She has turned it back around now 16 years later, and I'm getting it. I'm getting paid back for all my
That's why your
bad behavior.
beard has changed from black to white.
Yeah, the only thing that's black and that's left is right there.
It's not black anymore. There's a couple in there.
Yeah, it's starting to get, it's definitely salt and pepper now. But come on, somebody out there, give me one woman singer that.
Before 2006, the American version weighed 39 grams, while the UK version weighed 34 grams.
Wow.
Why did they?
Help me, YouTube. Come on. Give me some chat comments. So
In 2003, the size of small, medium, and large Cadbury eggs was reduced, but the price remained the same. See how that works?
That is amazing how that works. Thank you for that, Jesse Jones. We appreciate that, Jesse. That so goes with our theme of women singer-songwriters in the 2000s.
This is Cadbury cream eggs are now smaller and no longer have foil wrapping, but they do, don't they? They have them here.
I think so.
They only have them here during Easter. That's the only time they're out, right?
I think so, yes. I think they're all, I don't know. Again, folks, let's recap. At about 2 o'clock this afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, we were in the local Walmart. I wanted to spend a whole whopping 61 cents on a reduced piece of cake about that big.
Chocolate cake.
And I was not allowed to purchase it because she didn't want me to die of diabetes.
I didn't say you weren't allowed.
And so I didn't purchase it.
I
yet
didn't say you
we're
weren't
talking
allowed.
about M&Ms and Cadbury eggs when all I wanted to do was say that Van Halen wanted to take the brown ones out in their rider.
I said it. I didn't say you weren't allowed. I said I'm not going to.
So
even though it's tempting because I don't want to have to go to the dentist.
I know. Yeah, dentistry in our neck of the woods is a little barbaric when you walk in and they still have pliers and a pickaxe to get after you. And then they go down to the local steel factory and they get a little chunk of steel and they just drill it in, man. That's how we do it here in the woods. We do it old school.
Because
we're not like all you folks in the city that got to do it all the high tech way. Man. We go old school.
We have to.
I mean,
we can't afford the.
That's the way we roll.
We can't
out
afford
here
the
in
high
woods.
class dentist.
But we're so thankful that you guys are sticking around with us. I think we have 4, 5, 6 people in the chat, and still, come on, somebody please put in there one singer-songwriter woman that inspired you, that there was something about their music. I mean, I would say personally that a lot of it is pop music, and the thing about pop music is the hook. It's the greatest thing. One of the things about music that is so unbelievable, because when you can come up with a hook, you may have not heard this, especially the younger folks listening, but for old folks like me, one of the sayings I used to hear all the time was, "Don't bore us, get to the chorus." And that's the hook. And if you can write one hook and get a good hook, the rest will write itself. I mean, yeah, you can play the rhyme game, which one of our local boys, he's from Erie, Pennsylvania. His name is Pat Monahan. He's the lead singer for Train and head songwriter. He's a master at writing rhyming words that may not make a lot of sense, but at least the words rhyme. And that's one way to do it. But to write a hook in pop music, because I still love pop music. I still listen to it. Um, it's an amazing thing, and a lot of these women, as I've listened through some of these songs, and especially, I really encourage you to go out and listen to that Sarah Bareilles love song. It's called Love Song by Sarah Bareilles, and that's magic. Because again, and that's the great thing about music, and the thing that I love. She listens to music, I will say, Jesse listens to music in a different way than I do. I'm a little bit more, shall I say, arrested development as I listen, and she's a little bit more thought provoking. But a hook to this day, at 61 years old, will get me every time. And when you can get that little music worm in your ear and you just keep hearing it over and over and over, that's what makes music special. And the great thing is, it may mean something to you, the listeners or the viewers of us right now. It may mean something to her, and it may mean something totally different to me. And
Cadbury Company said that they I give them credit because their eggs are really, really good. I love Cadbury cream eggs. And they said they said they had to shrink the eggs to keep them affordable, which that makes sense. So thank you, Cadbury.
We like to have a lot of fun, as you can see. She is my best friend. She is the best friend any human being could ever ask for. And I'm so thankful she's part of my life. Um, we're coming up on the holiday seasons. This is a tough time for a lot of people. She is, for better or worse, on her end, she's my family here. Unfortunately, my family live on the left coast, which is now the red coast because we're in a red dragon kingdom now, I guess. But um, so I know the holidays are coming up, and it's a tough time for some of you who aren't near your families. And I know it's a time when uh, you may want to do things that maybe aren't great for you personally or spiritually or morally because you're lonely or you just would rather be near your family. And I encourage you to find somebody. And there's so many great people still left in this world, and I'm so thankful for that. And that's the power also of this thing called music, is it creates a family bond. And there's you whether you're at the water cooler at your work, or I don't know, you're in line in the grocery store. This, I'm going to date myself here, and only the more mature folks, I'm not going to say old, I'm going to say more mature folks will understand. Maybe the Muzak playing above you, it's not Muzak anymore, I don't know, probably Sirius XM or something like that, but the music that's piped in may create a conversation in the checkout line at your local grocery store or your local market, or the hardware store, wherever you might be. And so that's the thing. I encourage you all. I know this is a difficult time. um, it's always been a difficult time for me, as I live on the East Coast. My family lives on the West Coast. I know they're with me in spirit. I know they pray for me, but it's still not having them physically near you. So I encourage all of you to find somebody, and what a better way than use music to connect you with people. It doesn't matter what genre. It doesn't matter if it's rap music, if it's country music, if it's rock music, if it's classical music, if it's EDM, electric dance music. It doesn't matter. And that's the great power of this thing called music. All right, get in there. What do you want to say something? Obviously, you're pushing me out of the way.
Thanks to everybody who liked and tuned in with us today. We really appreciate you, and we just hope you have a great night.
And the upcoming one,
Thanksgiving.
there you go. Well done, kid. That hair's growing by the minute, by the way. Yeah, we wish everybody a great coming Thanksgiving next week. And we are here. She doesn't know this, but I've already talked to the other production assistants that she currently has on her staff. And we will be going live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific.
I don't know this.
On Thanksgiving night. We're going to do a Thanksgiving music meltdown for all the, and who knows, we may call it the Lonely Hearts Club. I don't know. But we're going to have a chat, join us. I know you all be sleepy, or I don't know. I think there's, what do they have, like 19 football games now on Thanksgiving? I think when I was a kid, they had like 1 or 2. I think now they have like 4 or something. I don't know. But join us after you satiated yourself with turkey and stuffing, and especially the yams with the marshmallows. Pound it down, folks. Hopefully your family makes those.
Green beans.
Nobody makes green beans.
Green
bean
beans
casserole
with the
mushroom soup.
Yeah, and the crunchy.
Yeah, the onion things.
Onion things on top.
It's a Pennsylvania thing, folks. You have no idea.
It's the best thing
I'm probably. I mean,
you don't like it.
Pennsylvania is my new home.
You don't like it?
Well, I like it, but that's not really a. It's like
green bean casserole. Is that what it's called?
Yes, but it's. I would think yams with marshmallows, mashed potatoes and gravy, and turkey, and then the cranberry sauce. What more do you need? You got it all right there. But in Pennsylvania, you're getting who knows
pumpkin pie.
Oh yeah, pumpkin pie. Yeah, you got to.
Or pumpkin rolls. Pumpkin rolls.
No, that's a Pennsylvania thing. I never had a pumpkin roll till I moved here. I didn't even know what that was. So that must be a
pumpkin roll is like a pumpkin cake. Really thin, flat pumpkin cake.
Oh dear Lord!
With
it's like a sponge cake.
So it's like.
And they roll it up like a roll.
And they put
icing.
Then you put cream cheese icing. You spread it all over the really thin little pumpkin cake, and then you roll it up. And roll it up. And then you just cut it straight down and eat pieces of the pumpkin roll. It's called. It's very popular here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and another thing in Pennsylvania that they just love, these whippersnappers out here love, is scrapple. And if you don't know what scrapple is, folks, please, I beg you, go Google search it the minute we end this live. Scrapple. Pennsylvania scrapple.
I don't believe you because I don't know what it is.
Look it up.
And I've been here my whole life.
It is, they take all the pig parts, they boil it in this big pot, and they make this like...
Who?
It's famous like in Amish country and like in the...
This is Philly. Amish country.
In Philly. Look it up.
Okay, well, not northwestern Pennsylvania.
We went through all this time on Cadbury eggs. Vote a hands on. Look it up. Scrapple. It's a very famous. They cut it and then they fry it on a flat top. It's a Pennsylvania thing, but yeah, you don't want to go. You don't want to talk food here about Western Pennsylvania because. Help us. We kind of lack in cultural diversity a little bit, so we don't get a lot of it. It's a lot of just meat and potatoes, and that's about as far as we're going to go. So thankfully, I did spend a lot of time on the left coast, or now I should say the right coast, even though it is the left coast.
What's that supposed to mean?
The left, like is it political left?
Oh,
in California.
It's still the left coast.
I know, but now we are run by the right. So the left coast is now semi-right coast. But anyways, I digress. We really have a great time. We're so thankful for everybody that has liked, subscribed, commented on the videos. It's been a pleasure for us to do that, to do all this. We have more to come. There's plenty more stories. I have nothing but a lifetime of stories. And she has nothing but 16 years of stories about me. So if you really want to go deep, start hammering those comments saying, Jesse Jones, we want stories about moi. And she,
Oh, you want a story about Timothy Lee, the famous host? Let's see. Let me think of one. Okay. See. Story time with Timothy Lee. Which one's a good one? What would be one of the good
fire
ones?
away, kid.
No, I can't
There's
think of
plenty
any
of them.
offhand.
There's plenty of them. But we really had a good time. I hope, maybe this opened up a door, a little portal into, checking out. Let's go through these names real quick, just one more time. Alicia Keys, Fiona Apple, Sarah McLaughlin, Nora Jones, Sean Colvin, Vanessa Carlton, Sarah Bareilles, Natasha Benningfield, Colby Calais, Cheryl Crow, the great and hometown girl that I love to death, especially Carnival and Jealousy. I love those. Tiger Lily, I believe is the name of the record. Natalie Merchant, hometown girl from Jamestown, New York. Tori Amos, Erica Badu, Meredith Brooks, Mary Chapin Carpenter, Suzanne Vega, Liz Fair, Tracy Chapman, Jewel, Paula Cole, Lisa Loeb, the Indigo Girls, Joan Osborne, Dido, Jill Solblay, and then, Nelly Furtado, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, obviously, Missy Elliott, and the Dixie Chicks, or the Chicks, now called the Chicks. There's so many of them out there. Please go out and try to find one of those. Listen to a few songs. Maybe your cup of tea, it may not be your cup of tea. If you like a pop hook, there's plenty of them to be had. And then you'll be bopping along at your job, and I guarantee at least one of them will get you. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really had a lot of fun. This is all sponsored by JJP Productions, Jesse Jones Productions, the head check writer, Gap, set designer, taxi cab driver, overall boss of everything. So, and she means the world to me and to a lot of other people. She's a very, very special person. And check out her channel, Jesse Jones, Jesy Jones on YouTube. And again, we thank you so much for all the response to all the videos that we've put out so far. All the support is in likes and subscribing. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you know the next time we put out a video. And
join us next time.
Yep. And remember, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, 5 p.m. Pacific for the Idiosyncratic Idiots Music Meltdown Thanksgiving Special with Pennsylvania's old pumpkin roll. Hey,
well, we make an exception for sweets for Thanksgiving.
I'm gonna say
for the holidays.
I'm gonna see if Jesse will risk the pickaxe and the pliers at the dentist office to go for pumpkin roll. Hey, we really appreciate
it. It's hard to resist because pumpkin rolls are so good.
We're so glad everybody joined us tonight. We hope you learned something.
But not as good as Green bean casserole.
I was born and raised in Chicago, folks.
There's nothing
don't
better.
I'm an adopted Pennsylvania citizen. This is my home now, but my heart still lies in the great state of Illinois.
He's lying.
Excuse me?
I don't want to say this because I'm a
Excuse
Pennsylvania native and
me?
I love Pennsylvania and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. But if he says Pennsylvania is his new home, that's true. But him loving Pennsylvania or liking Pennsylvania, I don't think that's true.
I think it is.
What do you like about Pennsylvania?
What do I like about Pennsylvania? I like the fact that I can drive an electric scooter to work every day and back. I like the fact that as I'm riding my electric scooter, and this is a true story. This is not a Timism. This is not a Tim story. I was riding to work one day. It's about 2 3/4 miles. And a black bear stepped out of the woods, looked at me, heard the obscene music I was playing from Sirius XM on my phone holder on my scooter, and literally backed up, walked backwards into the woods and said, "I'm out of this. I'm away from this crazy dude."
And backed up and spun around and went
right back up into the woods. Where else can you find that kind of pleasure, folks? Or where else can you ride to work and see, I don't know, a big buck with big antlers like this, standing on the side of the road, a male deer, looking at you going, "What's wrong with this guy? What is wrong with you?" But no, really, I do love it here. Where is Portugal? Portugal is a country. It is not in Pennsylvania. We're in Northwest Pennsylvania, USA.
Portugal is in Europe.
I don't think it's in.
Huh?
Yeah, I think it is.
It's
maybe.
by Spain.
You better fact check it. He's asking, where is Portugal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Portugal is in Europe. We are in Northwest Pennsylvania, USA, United States of America. We are about 20 minutes south of the southern tier of New York, or it would be southwest
next to Spain
section of New York, the state of New York. Portugal is by Spain in Europe. But thank you for asking.
It's a
Spark.
southern European country on the Iberian Peninsula.
Since you're here, Spark, and you're asking a question, tell me a woman singer songwriter who you admire. We'd love to hear your comment. Okay, so again, join us, folks. I'm Timothy Lee, your host of Idiosyncratic Idiots Music Meltdown.
Hi.
Johnny Cash.
Hi.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a female singer-songwriter, but
Johnny Cash. Awesome.
The man in black.
Do we want to talk about Johnny Cash?
Folsom Prison Blues, baby.
Hey, Spark, what's your favorite Johnny Cash song?
And he's dead, right? He died.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah. June Carter Cash. His wife was a great singer as well. Roseanne Cash, his daughter, was a great singer. Was married to Rodney Crowell. I don't know if they still are or not, but.
So name some really good, famous Johnny Cash songs.
Folsom Prison Blues. It's Ghost Riders in the Sky.
Yeah, Johnny Cash songs. Oh, how about Ring of Fire?
Yeah.
Have you heard that song?
I Walk the Line.
That's a good one.
They did a movie about that.
What about the song Hurt?
Mm.
That's a really good one because the lyrics are good.
The Chicken in Black.
A Boy Named Sue.
From San Quentin. God's gonna cut you down one piece at a time. I heard that lonesome whistle. Sunday morning coming down. Highwaymen. Man in Black. Cocaine Blues. Big River. The Man Comes Around. There you go. I've been everywhere. Don't take your guns to town. Me and Bobby McGee, You Are My Sunshine, City of New Orleans.
Wow, he did a lot.
Ragged Old Flag, Ain't No Grave. Yeah, there's some great. Johnny Cash is an American legend.
They do a whole live stream on Johnny Cash.
So again, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Spark, for the comments.
That was a good one.
Thanks for joining us. Join us next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, here on Idiosyncratic Idiots Music Meltdown with me, your host, Timothy Lee, and the beautiful and gorgeous Jessie Jones, head check writer, head boss, head everything, in charge of it all. The one that makes the magic.
Don't say that.
What?
Don't say the beautiful and gorgeous.
Sorry.
Don't say that anymore, please.
I was trying to be nice.
Okay. Thank you.
Wow.
Please don't say that anymore.
Why?
Just don't, please.
Sorry. The mediocre looking. What was I supposed to say? I don't. Tell me, folks. She said don't say it. So I was like, all right, the mediocre looking one then. God, I try to give somebody a compliment, and I've already established, folks, we're best friends. That's it. Okay, so what's the problem here? Is there a problem? She's getting pumpkin roll. She's getting her green bean casserole. She's getting her Scrapple.
No.
It's Pennsylvania.
No Scrapple. I don't even know what that is.
All right. We hope you have a safe week. We hope you have a great holiday season with your family. We hope you're safe. We know the weather's going to be changing here soon. So for those of you in those areas of the country where the weather's going to be getting bad, please use caution as you're out traveling and out walking about. God bless you all. We hope you have a safe and sober holiday season. And if you are in an area where you don't have family or you're alone, reach out and find somebody. And you know what? Let music guide you to somebody that can help you ease that part of your life if that's the situation you're in. And again, we thank you so very much. And join us next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, for a Thanksgiving edition filled with green bean casserole and pumpkin roll, right here on Idiosyncratic Idiots Music Meltdown with your host, Timothy Lee, and the mediocre-looking Jessie Jones. What? See, I can't even end it. I tried, folks. I tried the best I could. But no matter what I say, I don't want to use the one word that I know.
Do you have anything to describe me that doesn't involve my looks?
The brilliant, the talented.
That's better.
The amazingly good cook.
Well, that's not true.
If you like macaroni and cheese.
This is the good cook.
If you like macaroni and cheese.
This is the good cook.
She's
That's not. That's not fair.
Boom. So thanks again for joining.
He taught me how to cook. He taught me how to
Thank you. I
cook.
appreciate it. That means a lot.
And now I do cook something sometimes good when I get lucky.
And
when the stars align.
And she has taught me the importance.
And what? Go ahead.
And she has taught me the importance of sobriety and sober living. And most importantly, for all of you young folks out there that have been watching this or will watch this in the future, she taught me how to live a simple life. And if there's one piece of advice I can give you, it's live a simple life. And you know what it'll bring you? It'll bring you freedom. The world won't tell you that, but I'm here to tell you that. The simpler you live, the more freedom you'll have. Boom. Boom. There it is. So we thank you for joining us. Join us next week for our Thanksgiving special, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, right here on YouTube. We love every one of you. We're thankful for every one of you that you've given your time to watch us and to subscribe and to like. And remember, we
sort out those blue M&Ms.
No, those are brown ones. Dear Lord.
The blue ones.
Okay, I guess now Van Halen has changed it. Eddie came back from the grave and said, "Hey, can you take the blue ones out? Not since they replaced them with the brown ones." I guess.
Get rid of the blue. Eat the blue ones last or whenever you feel like eating them. Just sort them out. They don't belong. If you're old, they don't belong there. And me.
You're not old. If 46 is old, folks.
Hey.
What?
It's not old.
You just said. Okay, never mind. I'm gaslighting now. Sorry.
No, I'm gaslighting.
Oh, she's gaslighting. See, I don't even know what it means. It's just a term I've heard her use, so I like to spout it back. And then I don't know what it means. But most importantly, let's keep music alive. Let's keep growing this community. Come back and join us on Thursday night on Thanksgiving. And again, find somebody to reach out. If you're having trouble during these holiday season, don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything rash. Find a person. If you're
very introverted and you don't like the holidays because they're too stressful, then curl up, read a good book, do whatever you enjoy doing. That's, you can do alone. See, some people don't want to be around somebody on the holidays. Some people just would rather be alone.
I guess I don't. That's not me.
Because that's me. That's me, and it's okay. Sometimes you just gotta get away.
And sometimes you need to find a musical mascot like the Great Boots right here, and just cuddle up with the kitty. Keep you warm. Have a great night. Have a great evening. Let's continue to keep music alive. And most importantly, let's keep it loud. Always. Good night, everybody.
Keep it loud. Boom.
Okay. Let's try this again. We're going to end this one more time. And remember, let's keep music alive always. And let's always keep it loud.
Boom.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Have a great evening.
Boom.
Boom. Wait. Boom.
Boom.
I'm such an idiot.